Good evening, whoever that is. A bit of a surprise live stream tonight for you. I'm just whacking this on Facebook so people know we are here. If this is going to work, there we go. All right, let's see if that works. How you doing? Hi, Matthew. How you doing, Matthew? Thanks for logging on so quickly, mate. Obviously, you've got your notifications set up and everything, haven't you? Hope you're all right, mate. Just a bit of a catch-up tonight. I'll wait while there's a few more people logged on. There's quite a few on already, which is great. Hi, Christian. Thanks for logging on, mate. Richard, Stephen, Phil, Harry. You're not messing about, are you, boys? I gather Wednesday night at this time is a decent time for you. If it is, let me know. And then if I'm going to do any of these in future, especially the ad hoc ones, like this one that was unannounced, then I know that that's a convenient time for you. So how are you all doing? Let me know what you've been up to. I've been out fishing today. That's probably why I look a little bit windswept. I haven't had a shave or a shower yet. I've only just got back. I've been to Southfield Reservoir. I've been there in the Feeder King qualifier, and it's been a massive, massive test. Again, I've been doing quite well there. But today has been a little bit... The winning weights have been better. So when you look at the results, then it looks like it's fished better. But there have still been some hard areas, some areas where some lads have literally had ounces and really, really struggled. So whatever the reason is for that, I don't know. I'm not even going to try and work that out. But so yeah, it's been a testing day today. For those that don't know, the Feeder King qualifiers, you've got to win your 20 peg zone. So it's the same format as Feeder Masters. And in order to qualify, you've got to win the 20 pegs, which on a venue like that covers quite a lot of ground. And in that 20 peg zone, there can be, you know, a couple of pockets of fish. You know, that's just what it is, you know. So I've ended up with 14 fish today. I've really pushed the peg. I've really pushed it hard because whilst there weren't any bream caught near us, I think the nearest bream that we saw caught to my left was about 6 or 7 pegs away. And I haven't even seen any caught to my right. At the halfway stage, we haven't seen any bream caught down there. But we've known that right at the other end, I keep doing that, it's to the left. So whichever way, to my left in the early 40s, I've been on peg 51. They were catching some bream, or there had been some bream caught. So rather than just try and catch 1 or 2 bream, we've just had to kind of chase it, you know, because we knew we were after 6 or 7 bream. And that's a different ball game altogether, as you know. You know, when you're after 1 fish or 2 fish in 2.5 hours, you can sit and be a little bit patient, cut back on your feed a little bit. And, you know, when you need 6 or 7 fish, then it's a different ball game. So we've really had to push our pegs today, and they just haven't turned up. You know, they haven't rocked up for anybody. I've ended up with 14 fish for £4.06. Charlie Simpson's won the section. Well done, Charlie, with £6 dead. He's had a late proper bream, really late on, last few minutes. And I think he's had another smaller net fish, but he has had some other fish as well. So he's won the section with £6. So I've had £4.06, and I've pushed my peg right for the last 2.5 hours. So of course there was enough fish there for me to have won the section. But ultimately we were there to try and qualify. So I've chased the 6 or 7 bream that we thought we needed. Thankfully, that was right. Sometimes we get information on the bank that isn't quite correct. A lot of people refer to it as bum info. But as it turns out today, it has been bang on. And we thought £17 was needed to win our zone, which I don't know how many fish that was because it was right down to my left, but £17. But I think it might have been £19. I haven't seen the full results yet. So there was there was certainly a £17 and a £19. So we did right. You know, if I was going to go back to that peg again tomorrow in the same sort of event, the same sort of match, then I'd do exactly the same. I've really pushed it. I fish with worms, I fish with maggots. I've fished 3 lines today, 15 meters, 30 meters, and 50 meters. And I haven't had any bites on the 15 meter line. I haven't had a sign on it. On the 30 meter line, I've had about 6 really small fish. And then on my longer 50 meter line, I've had a net fish, probably £2, maybe just less than £2. And then all the rest of my fish have been on there. So whatever that is, 8 fish or whatever. But they've all been that sort of size. I've only used my landing net twice today. So, but no, we knew we needed bream. So thankfully, the information on the bank was correct. And that's great because that's what, you know, you can only make your decisions in a match based on what's happening around you and how you think you are actually doing actually on that occasion. So anyway, that's about my day anyway. I've got a couple of other things to talk to you about tonight, because I've been getting asked loads of questions about some of the new products that have come out. Now, I'm not just going to talk to you about new products that have come out. I'm going to talk to you about the products that I've been using so far, because, you know, I'm not here to push products, but people are asking me, what hooks are you using now, Jamie? What rods are you using? All those sorts of things. So rather than answer each individual comment, question, whether it's on Messenger, email, text, whatever, there's that many different channels of getting messages through to people these days. I just thought I'd do this now for you. The other reason why this is a live stream, I'm just kind of giving you a catch up now while there's a few people logging on now. So I'm giving you a live stream now because obviously I've been out today fishing. It's quite late now anyway, so I won't be doing any more work tonight. Tomorrow I've got a free day, but having said it's a free day, it's really all about prep tomorrow, because Friday I am out coaching. I'm out coaching Friday all day, and then Saturday, Sunday and Monday I'm fishing a festival. So I've got tomorrow to prep my kit, sort my bait out, prepare my bait, and also do a couple of videos for this channel and for Patron TV, my other channel. I've just finished 2 videos for Patron TV. So if any of the patrons, I haven't looked at everyone who's logged on yet. So if there are any patrons logged on, good evening, and good evening to everyone. But just to let the patrons that are here, there are 2 videos I've just uploaded now, ready so that they can be uploaded whilst I'm away from wherever I am in a hotel or wherever I'm going to be able to get a signal while I'm away. So so those videos are kind of done in advance because I'm not obviously at home to film them. So I'm just going to have a quick check on see who's here. Christian, Richard, Stephen, hello chaps, how are you? Phil, Harry, David Smith, Aaron, Jimmy. Great to see somebody logging on. Thank you, and thanks for everyone saying hello. What I'm going to do is thanks for everyone. I can see all your names here. Really appreciate logging on. Thanks. Hope you are all safe and well. I'm just going to have a quick scan to see if there's any bits of information, any bits of chit chat for us, or see if there's any queries anybody's got with the kit that we're using now. Harry Golder, match angling, been fishing today, absolutely bagged up on an open alloy feeder. Top job, mate. They're great feeders, you know. They're designed for a job, the open alloy feeders. They're designed for a job, and I mean, I found occasions when the normal method feeder now, believe it or not, I mean, I've recently found that out over the last probably month or so, where there are occasions where for some reason you can't catch on the open alloy, but you can catch on a normal method feeder. And I think that tends to work on venues where the fish are a little bit cagier, I think. I'm not 100% sure on that, but at the end of the day, if one feeder works over another one, then you just keep using the one that works. And even if you don't know why, you just keep using it. But the open alloy are fantastic. They're the ones that I've used more of than anything, because they just protect the pellets that little bit better. They hold them in place. And they're good for casting at range, you know, or if you're going a little bit further out, it just protects all the pellets from coming off the feeder when the feeder hits the surface. So glad you've had a good day, mate. Good to hear that. James Stokes, method feeder fishing on a local lake. Started hard but ended on a high, up to 80 pounds in fish. Fantastic, James. Sounds like everyone's had a great day's fishing apart from me. Maybe I'm fishing the wrong venues, I think. But no disrespect to Southfield. You know, when it's hard like that. I mean, today's been a little bit different because it looks like there has been certainly 2 areas. I haven't seen the full results, but 2 areas where there seems to have been a few more fish. But that's what qualifier fishing is all about. It's slightly different from fishing open matches, and it's very different from trying to win your 5-peg section or your 10-peg section, you know, because you're competing against anglers over a wider area, and obviously the wider their area, the more likely there are going to be pockets of fish or more fish in certain areas. So, but that's not specific to Southfield. That's bream fishing, you know. That's the nature of bream fishing. You know, they're a shoal fish by nature, and that's just the way it is. We've grown to get used to that. So yeah, glad to see you've had a good day, mate. John Smith, do you think that fishing the feeder on trout reservoirs gives you more of a chance of catching? I'm not really sure. I mean, I have caught quite a few trout on reservoirs fishing the feeder. I mean, generally trout feed and live up in the water in the upper layers, which obviously doesn't lend itself ideally to feeder fishing. There are things that you can do, you know, like slow the feeder down, have a lighter feeder that's slower sinking, fish with a longer tail, fish with floating maggots. That, you know, they're the kind of things that we do if we're after hybrids or fish that are up in the water. So that might work for you, but I honestly don't know. I've never really tried it. I'm assuming you mean to target trout. But yeah, if you just want to be a bit more specific on that, mate. But I've never actually done that specifically for trout. What else we got here? How come you don't use Daiwa Tournament Pro rods like Josie and Matrix? Good, but Fox were better. Quality hard to beat. There's loads of great rods out there. You know what? You know, I don't mind saying that the first ever England feeder team trial that ever took place was probably 9 years ago now, and I was fortunate enough to get an invite to go to that, and we fished at Attenborough Gravels. And I'll not go into too much detail, but one of the things that wasn't right with my kit, having spoke to Tommy and just having a look at the lads around me, was my long range tattle wasn't good enough. You know, the reel wasn't big enough. It wasn't a casting reel, and the rod, whilst it was a 13-foot rod, it wasn't a casting rod. It was one that I used to use on the Trent, and I think that was a Daiwa rod, to be honest. But that was the rod that I used to use on the Trent back then. But the long range rods weren't readily available like they are now. You know, back then there was probably only one brand that everybody went for. Same with the reels. A lot of people were going for big pit reels, and some of them were huge, you know. Whereas now, fast forward 9 years, and there are absolutely loads out there. There are loads of brands out there with so many different rods, all casting rods. They've all got reels for casting, and they all do the job, you know. And I can't comment on which is better than others. And that's not because I'm sitting on the fence. It's because I've never tried the others. You know, there was a brief period, I don't mind telling you, that 9 years ago, the only ones really on the market were the Preston rods. You know, there was the Dutch Masters. They were the ones that everybody went for because there weren't really any others out there. But obviously, within 2 years, other brands started bringing up casting rods as well. Rods that were obviously long rods, but ones for casting with bigger eyes on them, bigger rings on them, and then the reels to go with them. And now there are just so many out there. And I've been with Matrix now probably 5 years, maybe. And I haven't used any other rods since. You know, I changed my rods over. I was using a mixture of rods from a mixture of brands before then. And then I obviously saw the Matrix rods. I was already using 2 of them anyway. And I was using one of the Horizons, the original Horizons anyway. But obviously new versions have come out since then. But for the last 5 years, they're the only ones I've used. So, you know, I can name anglers now, some of the top names that you see on videos and in magazines. And yes, some of them are sponsored, some aren't sponsored, but I can pretty much tell you what kind of rods they're using, and they're all using different ones. So is there much difference between them? I know there's a big difference in price, because I see that, I see the price. And people tell me when I'm out coaching, lads are obviously rocking up with all sorts of different tattle. And yeah, there's a big difference in price ranges between all the brands, but I've never tried them, so I don't know. You know, it's all right saying one rod's brilliant, but if there was one, I'm a strong believer, it's the same with ground baits and all that sort of thing. If there was one that was better than anything else, then everybody would be using it, or all the top lads would be using it. The same goes for ground baits and all that sort of thing. Same with reels, you know, whether they're sponsored or not. I know some sponsored anglers that have literally got it written into their contract that they can use other items of tackle. And some of those lads who I could name, but I won't, they can use literally any reel they want, no matter what brand they're with. They can use whatever rod they want and whatever reel they want, but they use what they choose to use, and that speaks volumes. So, and yet everybody's still using different stuff. So I don't really know. And it's the same with reels. I haven't used any other reels in the last 5 years and that sort of thing. So it's a little bit awkward, that one. But as long as the rod's doing the job that you want it to do, and it's obviously you can afford to buy it, then go for it. It doesn't matter what it costs. If it's a 70 quid rod or a 370 quid rod, if it's going to get your feeder to go where you need it to go, if it is a casting rod, or if you want it to do a specific job, if it's going to do it, it doesn't matter. And I was like that before, you know, just use whatever is going to get you there, whatever's going to do the job for you. That's the main thing. Enjoy your fishing. Was there a plague of frogs and hurricanes at Southfield today? No, nothing like that. The wind was horrendous today. When we got there, it was really bad, and it was from 2 o'clock, so it's from the right and in. And I set up rod wise. I'll tell you exactly what I set up. So people always ask. I had the 2 11-foot setup. That was for the 50-meter line and 30-meter line, and then for the 50-meter line, I had that one. Well, not that one, obviously, because it's still in the bag. That one. That's the X-Craft, the Horizon Pro, but it is only 60 gram. I can't get it out for you, but it's the Horizon Pro that I've used today, 3.6 meter, which is the same length rod that I used to use before, the XC class, 3.6 meter. And to be honest, I'll be honest with you, when I got to my peg and I saw the conditions, it was the first time I've used that version of that rod in a match, and the wind was really terrible this morning. And I honestly thought, I mean, it's rated at a 60-gram rod, so that means somewhere like where I've been today, ironically, I've been able to use a 30-gram feeder all day, which is amazing, to be honest. I thought I would have been able, that's on the long line, I thought I would have needed to step up to a 40-gram feeder, which is still ideal for a 60-gram rod, which is like what that is. But I've been able to use a 30-gram feeder today, but don't forget that was obviously when it's got ground bait in it, it's near a 40-gram. But that's been perfect. The Horizon feeder, I've used the metal one today with the point, the black metal one, and I've been able to use it all day. I never had to pick up the XD. I set an XD up, a 4-meter, because I thought if that wind really gets bad, I still want to be able to hit that long line. And admittedly, the wind dropped a little bit until, well, the end of the day, it was flat calm. But that has done, it's been great today on that 50-meter line. I never went further than that, so I'm not quite sure how much I could have pushed it, but it's been spot on today. Absolutely ideal. So yeah, it's been good for that. But no, there were nothing quite like that, but it has been a bit of a test, as always. Hi, Christoph. How you doing, mate? Not heard from you in a while. Hope you're well, mate. Who else we got on here? Lots of different logo names here. The Master, that's funny. My name's Jamie, and it's my birthday. Happy birthday, mate. Happy birthday. Hope you are having a good time. Wayne Vance, so when are you coming down to the southwest to fish some of our matches? It's a long way, the southwest. You know, I'm up north, you know. I said this year I was going to have a bit of a break from fishing a lot of the matches in the Midlands, and that's really what we've done. Obviously, with what's happening in the world, a lot of matches have been cancelled, postponed, a lot of events and that sort of thing. So, and that's allowed me to fish more venues around here, around South Yorkshire, and that's what I've been doing. And I've enjoyed that. You know, it makes a big difference when you're not doing 100-mile journeys all the time. So the winter looks busy, but it's just a case of what events are down there. You'll have to let me know what events are, you know, are taking place down there in the southwest. It's just that obviously with a journey like that, you can't really go down there for one day. It's a long journey. So if it was a 2-day event or there were a couple back to back, then that makes it much worthwhile. Colin, hi Colin. When I buy Fisheries Own pellets, they never seem to go sticky. What can I do? Yeah, I mean, the fishery pellet thing is that, I mean, they're different everywhere you go, aren't they? And they do change from time to time at the same venue. You know, I've got batches of pellets here that I've used, that I've bought over the years from certain fisheries, and there are probably 2 different batches there, or 3, you know. They do change their suppliers, I'm sure, and they are a different pellet. So, unfortunately, you know, when you're rocking up at a venue, you never really know what kind of a pellet you're going to get. If stickiness is an issue, or the lack of stickiness with the pellets, just get something to add to them. There are loads and loads of different glugs and all sorts of things that you can buy now that are going to help your pellets stick. You know, there's lots of different products out there. Obviously, there are sticky pellets you can buy, but obviously you're talking about fishery-only pellets. But there are lots of things out there like the glugs and things like that you can add to your pellets that will make it go sticky. And they will tell you that on the bottle. All right, so just have a look. Well, you have a look on the internet and just see if any of your local shops got any in. But yeah, anything like that, additive, and just mix them slowly. You know, just give them a minute or 2 to start with, and then drain the water off. And then, if you've got to add more water to them, then just obviously you can just add more water to them. You know, you don't want to ruin them trying to do them all in one go, and that way you might find that you're just getting them to the right stickiness, or the right dampness. What else have we got? Ricky Lewis, what's the maximum size weight feeder you would use with a 60-gram 10-foot rod? With a 60-gram rod, I mean, I tend to use 40-gram feeder. Don't forget, you know, if you put a 40-gram feeder on, you know, and if you are filling it, depending on what sort of feeder it is and what type of bait you're using, you know, you're probably adding another 10 gram to it at least. So just take that into account. But a 60-gram rod will cast a 40-gram feeder lovely when it's loaded, so that's 50 gram. And you might be able to push it to 60. But I'll be honest with you, I don't like to push those boundaries too much. But again, it depends what tip you've got in as well. So if you're going to put a heavier feeder on and you're going further, just step up the strength of your tip as well. Okay, don't try and do that with an ounce tip or anything like that. You need to step that up as well. Okay, otherwise it might cause crack-offs, and you don't want to be having problems like that, do you, mate? Nice one, Ricky. Stephen Armstrong, hi Stephen mate. Would it ever be possible to do a video using the Aquos range of rods, Jamie? Yes, it would, Stephen. I'll see if I can get hold of a couple for you. It is something that I wanted to do, but obviously with the backlog and delays of everything coming, obviously with everything that's going on in the world, a lot of the products that are coming out now are delayed. You know, a lot of them would have been out sooner than what they actually have been. So everything's delayed slightly, and because of demand as well, some of the products have sold out straight away. So there's a little bit of an issue getting hold of certain products at the moment, Stephen. But if I can get hold of one or two rods, if there's a specific one you're interested in, Stephen, or anybody else listening, if there's a specific Aquos rod in that range that you're interested in, then please just comment or underneath the video or in the chat, and I'll see if I can get a hold of one for you, mate. Okay, nice one. Thanks for that. Steve, hi Steve, hope you're all right, mate. Rods, bait, reels are all confidence things. Yeah, they are. They do suit your budget. Yeah, and reliability is a big issue. You know, I had this chat last week with a very well-known angler, and it was about feeder fishing just being, your feeder fishing's got to be kind of durable. Your kit's got to be durable. You know, you're putting your kit through a lot of, it's not like laying a 4 number 10s light pole rigging with a few styles on and a soft elastic, you know. We're belting feeders out into headwinds and you're cranking them back, you know, time after time in lots of, certainly if you're fishing natural venues that can be snaggy places, rocks, all sorts of features. You've got weed going on your braid. You're fishing with bigger baits, just things like that, you know. So I think one of the best ways I can describe choosing feeder fishing tackle is just make sure it's durable. Make sure it's going to do a job for you. You know, even if you've got to spend a little bit more, you know, generally that will reflect the quality of the product and it'll just last you longer. But again, it depends how much you're fishing. If you're fishing a lot, then obviously your tackle is going to get more stick. It's going to get more use. So it could be more likely to wear out quicker. Whereas if you're only fishing once a week or once a fortnight, then your tackle's not getting used as much. So just think about that. But there's so much tackle out there. It's unbelievable. Thanks for that, Phil. Try a shake of Horlicks or PVA on your pellets. Horlicks, my dad used to use that, and I know a few people that have used it before. So Horlicks, if you add a Horlicks to your pellets, it can make them stickier. Okay, so that is one that will work. There are obviously additives in shops that are going to do the same job, all right. And the ones in the shops will add some sort of, you know, if you've got any sort of preferred flavors or anything like that, then that will add that as well. So what else we got here? Good evening, everyone. Richard's here. Kyle, hi Kyle. Stephen, thanks Jamie. It was the Aquos 3.9, I think it is. All right, I'll have a look for that, mate. I'll see if I can get hold of one for you. What else we got? If I make groundbait balls a night, you asked me that before. I've asked you that. I've answered that one. I'm sure I've answered that one before. Steffo, I'm sure I have. But anyway, what else we got? Mike Smith, hi Mike. When will the new hook range be in the shops? It should be in there now, Mike. That's one of the questions I've been getting asked a lot. So I'll just touch on that now. Up until now, because the hooks have only just come out, I've been using 2 patterns, all right? And that's because I've had some of the prototypes of one of the patterns anyway. So I've been using them a lot, and the hooks that I've had have really suited the venues that I've been going to, which have been Southfield Reservoir, I've been on the River Trent, Elsica Reservoir, and they're venues where, you know, you're using more natural water type hooks with barbs on them. Now, the main one that I've been using up to now is the MXB3. Now, this is because I've caught a lot of fish on worms recently, okay? And if you can see that pattern there, so it's not shining. There you go. You can see the pattern. It's a lovely wide gape hook. You can see how wide it is. And that's the one that I've used the most, simply because this is the one that I had a few samples of a few weeks ago. So I've used these more. So you can see that shape there. That's the MXB3. And that's the one I've really been using when I've been fishing with worms. We all know how awkward worms can be, especially red worms, for going over on the point of the hook. And, you know, usually worm, it's quite a big bait as well. You might be putting 2 pieces of worm on, or a couple of sections of worm, or a full dendra, things like that. A nice wide gape hook like that, you know, has been ideal. So that's what I've been using. But like today, I mean, I've caught a few fish on maggots today, and that's when I've been using that one, which is the MXB2. So the initials are the same, it's just the number 2. Okay, and as you can see, it's a different sort of shape, that. And that's just been more suited for fishing like double maggot, 3 maggots, or even 2 or 3 pinkies as well. Okay, you can still catch a worm on that hook as well. It's just because it's not such a wide gape hook, you might tend to lose the odd fish or not hook them properly. But that depends on the size of the hook bait that you're using. So the other one is, that's the MXB3 is the one that I use when I'm using a slightly bigger bait. You know, when you're trying to be a little bit more selective about trying to catch bigger fish, and you know, but that's a more all-round hook, that one. But it's obviously it's more suited to maggot and pinky fishing and that sort of thing. So they should be out in the shops. As far as I've been told, that they are in stock now, Mike. So have a word with your tackle shop, mate. They should be able to order them now. I've got these, you know, and we don't get any sort of special preference. We can't get these until they're available. So I've got some, so they are available. So just have a word with your local tackle shop, mate. Or they might be just have a scout around on the tackle shops online, mate. Let's just have a look. Keith Morris, hi Keith. Evening, Jamie. Edgelow Reservoir this weekend. Depth around 10 feet, but very silty bottom. Would you use a helicopter rig for this sort of bottom for a roach or perch venue? No, if you're not casting too far, I'd just go down a free running rig. You know, I'm using free running rigs now wherever I possibly can. Today, for example, on my long line, I couldn't use a free running rig because it was just too windy. To be honest, I might have got away with it today, but I didn't even try it. The last time I was at Southfield, which was on Sunday, it was impossible to use a free running rig on that long line because the wind was hacking straight into the face, and that's when, you know, you can get tandles and loop over with a free running rig. So so let's just so yeah, that answers that for you. I'd use a free running rig, and if it's a silty bottom, as usual, just use baits that aren't going to riddle away into the silt, like live maggots, pinkies. I'm not sure what baits you're using. If you have to roach, then casters could be great because casters will lay on the silt. Try opening your feeder, emptying your feeder a little bit higher up in the water so that you're going to get a nice full of bait that can lay on the silt. And ultimately, just try and fish a lighter feeder as possible. You know, just try and pick the right style of feeder, one that you're going to try and encourage to lay actually on the silt. You don't want one that's going to sink in the silt, because if it goes in the silt, the fish can't see it. And if the fish do want it and they know it's there, they've got to go digging for it. And on the feeder, that can be a nightmare because you've got them rooting around your feeder, and that's when you can lead to line bites and foul up fish and all that sort of thing. So, so there you go. Hopefully that helps. Let us know how you get on. Iceworks, stop the Matrix plugs. I'm using Matrix tackle. People asking me what I'm using. I'm using Matrix tackle. Today, ground baits. I've used Ringer's ground bait. I'm not plugging Ringer's ground bait. I've used Ringer's ground bait. Last week I used Sauna baits. There you go. I'm plugging the brands that I'm using, the products that I'm using. Christopher Slater, when will the new pole protectors be out? I'm not sure, Christopher. I'll have to have a look at that for you, mate. If you comment underneath this video, not in the chat, but in the comment section underneath, then that'll remind me to have a look for you. And if there is a link to somewhere on the website or a date or something for you, I can actually, I can let you know about that. Okay, mate. Carl Jackson, Jamie, have you fished the River Hull? No, I haven't. No, I've never come across that one. Sorry, Carl, mate. Nessie, hi Nessie. I'm not going to call you mate. All right, I do apologise. It's a habit. I know you're not a mate. You're a, I don't know. I'm going to have to come up with another name for you. Sorry about that. What would you say is the best feeder rod for 50-metre chucks? I don't know if you mean the brand or the type of rod. I mean, 50-metre chucks, it depends on the rod that you're using and what type of feeder you're using. You know, I've found that the rods that I've been using, if it's like a conventional rig, like a paternoster rig or something like that, then a 12-foot rod will make that easy. You know, a 12-foot rod, you know, that's what, you know, you can get away with. Whereas, you know, if it's a method feeder or something like that, you could do that with an 11-foot rod. But that depends on the type of 11-foot rod it is. Some are obviously stiffer than others. Some are softer rods that are more designed for silverfish. So a 12-foot rod will make it much easier, especially with a conventional type rig. James, hi James, hope you're well, mate. Hi Jamie, been pole fishing for a bit with my new MTX1 Power, but going to be feeder fishing again tomorrow using all the knowledge that you have shown me and have very good catches. Thank you. No problem, James. Let us know how you get on, please, mate. And I think you've been happy with the MTX1, haven't you? Let me know, mate. Let me know how you get on, please. Jamie, did you ever fish the pre-digested fish meals or add some to your ground? No, I never did it. I never did that at all. I didn't really get into fish meal type things until about 8 or 9 years ago. 8 years ago, maybe, when I really started taking it a bit serious. That was when I was with Bait Tech, and a lot of the time then, you know, if it wasn't a fish meal mix that I was using, I would add fish meal to it if I felt it needed it. You know, Bait Tech, just like lots of, I think other brands do it as well. Just it's just fish meal. It's a bag of fish meal, pure fish meal, and you can add it to any sort of mix that you've got, just to give it that fish meal boost. And obviously, because you're adding it, you can add as much or as little as you wish. So no, I never went down that route. But I went down the other route of adding it myself. I don't do that so much now, but I think that's because the mixes that I'm using now have already got the fish meal in it. You know, I just pick a mix that's got the strength fish meal that I think I need, whether it's a sweet one or a weak one or a strong one. So no, I didn't. No. Do you have a Stradic in your arsenal? No, I've never had a Stradic. I've never had one. No, I've had lots of reels over the years. When I was a kid, it was all about Mitchell matches and that sort of thing. I'm showing my age now. Of course I am. And then I didn't really change my tattle. I think I had some Orkumas, if that's how you still pronounce it. I don't know. I had those until about 2010, until I got back into open match fishing. I just kept the same kit from 1992 right the way through to 2010. You know, I never changed my kit, my seat box, everything. So, no, it wasn't until 2010. And then obviously, you know, a lot of the tattle had changed by then, hadn't they? And the fishing had changed as well. There was obviously a lot more commercial things going on as well. Hi, Jamie. What's the best way of preserving bait, such as maggots, garmets, worms? Always buy too much at the end of the leftover. I don't try and keep anything special. I mean, maggots, just keep them in a fridge. Just keep them, make sure they're not going to sweat and that sort of thing. Keep them in a fridge, and they'll last. Well, it depends how fresh they are, but just keep maggots in the fridge. Same with pinkies, same with squats. Casters, depends on your casters, where you get them from and how they're bagged up. You can tend to, if you buy casters when they're already in a sealed bag, you can keep them, or I've kept them in the fridge for probably a week or so, but not much more than that. They tend to get bag burn. But having said that, I got some from Willy Worms, and someone else did this, and they come in packs, and I had some in my fridge they were about 4 weeks, and they still look fine. Now, I don't know if that's still the case. I don't know, because that only happened the once. But you know, things like worms, if you've got a garage floor where it's nice and cool, perfect. If you've got a garage floor or a cool concrete floor, just keep worms cool and feed them. You know, if you want to keep them long, if I'm talking about dendrobinas, if you want to keep them longer than their natural lifespan of when they come in a bag from the tattle shop, just feed them, you know, damp, wet tea bags, things like that, just something. And they love to eat stuff like that, you know. So that's the way I do it. I keep it really, really simple. But, you know, I try and measure out all the bait that I use, and I try to be a bit careful with it. I hate wasting bait. Always have done. Hiya, Arthur, mate. Hope you're well, pal. What's your opinion on pop-up baits, on the method? Would you use them? Yes, I use pop-ups quite often, but I'll be absolutely honest with you. I haven't caught millions of fish on them. The funny thing is with pop-ups, whenever I've found that they've worked, which is not very often, you know, maybe I haven't done it at the right time, but when I'm not catching and you think there's fish up in the water and various different reasons you try pop-ups if you're not catching. I don't catch that many fish on them, I'll be honest with you. But when I have caught on them, they tend to be bigger fish. Now, I don't know if that's a trend that anyone else has spotted. I don't know. I've not really had many discussions about pop-up baits. And I've only really caught on them on places like Barston Lakes, you know, the more prolific, higher stock venues. I don't know, but please let me know if you found the same thing. But whenever I have caught on them, which isn't very often, it tends to be the bigger fish, but I don't know if that's what other people have spotted before. Anthony Colley, how are you doing, Anthony? I hope you're well, mate. Well done. Well done to the catch team fishing. Harrison versus Barlow. Great weekend. Yeah, it was. It was a great battle, that. For those that don't know, on our other channel, we had a head-to-head. I had a team of 7 anglers, and Dean Barlow had 7 anglers as well, and we fished a head-to-head. And it was a really interesting competition because, you know, Dean had a bit of a team plan for his team. I had a plan for my team. And to be honest, the venue didn't fish that great. You know, it was at Larford Lakes, where you'd obviously expect quite a few carp fishing. And there were very few carp caught, very few. But it was a really interesting match. And I know the lads that were involved in that really enjoyed it. Certainly the winning team, Team Harrison, obviously. But yeah, hopefully there'll be a rematch soon. We'll see how that pans out. But thanks for coming, Anthony, mate. It was great to see you there, mate. Danny's Angling Blog. Hi, Danny. Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're still uploading here on YouTube. If anybody's interested in another fishing channel, Danny's Angling Blog. I don't think Danny's not really a match angler, so the venues that he fishes are a little bit more of a wider variety than mine. So you might want to check that out. Good evening. Hope you're well, Danny, mate. Hope you're managing to get some videos uploaded, mate. I'm trying to keep up with the feed here. Hi, mate. Have you used the new Matrix platform barra? I used it last week. No, 10 days ago for the first time. And that's because it's only just come out. Well, it's only been out about 2 days. But I used it in the promotional video. We went down to Arrow Valley, which is a venue I've fished 4 or 5 times before. And that was the first time I used it. And yeah, I mean, for those that don't know what that is, the Matrix platform that a lot of you have seen, we've just brought a barrow out now where there's an attachment on it where there was one big wheel, so it converts into a barrow. Okay, simple as that. And the first thing that hit me about it, I'll be honest with you, is how light it is, which is what you'd expect because it's a light platform anyway. It's only had a wheel added to it. And the other thing is how big it is. You know, I mean, the wheel kits that we tend to use now, a lot of the wheel kits are kind of just a bit bigger than your box, you know, because you put your seat box on, you might extend your foot plate out, and it's that sort of width and everything. But obviously, this is on a platform. So when I put my box on there, I put my 2 bags on there, and I couldn't believe how much room there was left on it. But yeah, it looks a great bit of kit. You know, I've not put it through its paces or anything yet. I mean, I haven't got one yet, so they've only been out a couple of days. But I have used it, and it was great. There was so much space on it. And for those, if anyone's wondering what the difference is between that over the 4-wheel barrow that we use, then basically a lot of the terrain, and certainly on natural venues, on rivers, canals sometimes as well, the footpaths they're not level, you know, they might be on an angle, and they might be quite narrow as well. A 1-wheeler is ideal for that sort of a venue, for getting to your peg, because, you know, 1 wheel is obviously, it's not going to tip over like a 4-wheeler can on banks that are at an angle. And if you've only got a single track to go along as well, obviously 1 wheel's better. But you've obviously got the added bonus that there's a platform there as well, because a lot of those natural venues you need a platform for. So it just kind of ties in really nicely. And I think they'll be a really popular product, you know. But yeah, it's just a nice bit of kit that's going to help out a lot of people that are on or like fishing venues where the access isn't so good. Stephen Armstrong, is there a dedicated website that tells you the day ticket stretches on the Trent, Nottinghamshire, South Yorkshire area? Not that I know of. I don't know, Stephen, mate. If you just ping me a message underneath, mate, I'll have a look for you. I don't really know, because the only time I really fish the Trent is in matches. And so I'm not really up to speed on that. But I know there's been loads and loads of matches on there. You might want to just type in some of the names of the associations that you know that run the River Trent or the fishing on there. But, you know, like Burt, I don't know if Burt Mutual still got places on. There's loads of different, Newark. There's just, I would do that. I'd type in the angling associations in that area. And generally, if they've got some sort of a website, one of the first things you'll come to is a list of venues that they control. That's the best thing I can say, to be honest, Stephen. Sorry, I can't help out a bit more with that, mate. I like to use the method. What would you advise fishing on open water like Dutch Channel? Well, it depends on the depth. I mean, the method feed is a great method, but it doesn't tend to be quite so effective in deep water. All right, unless you're using like an open alloy method feeder, something with side or a feeder with sides on it. A pellet feeder can be great. I don't know if you're fishing with pellets and things like that, but in deeper water, we tend to switch from a method feeder to a pellet feeder because your bait's just a lot more enclosed. You know, the water can't get to it so easily, as quickly, so it doesn't break down as quick, which means it's more suited for deeper water. So if you're catching with pellets and method type baits, then a pellet feeder might be good on that sort of venue. Right, thanks for all these. Stephen Norbury, how you doing, Steve? Hope you're well, mate. Evening, Jamie. Longevity of tattle. The pole I used before buying the MTX was a Daiwa Connoisseur Mark II, 1997, and a Watercraft Canal seat box, 1993. Fantastic. You know, I mean, I had a Watercraft box. I obviously had the plastic boxes as well, like the Shakespeare box. It was a small reed one as well. I had the Octopus. I never had an ASI. Matchbox. I had a Tubertini Conti box. I've had 3 reeve boxes. and I had a couple of Daiwa boxes as well. And the reason why I kept changing is because I was never quite happy with the one that I had. I didn't care what it said on it. I didn't care, what other people thought about it. If it was a box that was too big, too bulky, or there was problems with the drawers leaking, or all that business, I just changed it because I wanted my box to be right. I had a Colmic seat box as well. The Colmic one was one of the cheapest ones. I mean, I'm going back 12 years now. So it's just more about getting something that's going to, think about the venues that you're fishing. A lot of people are fishing commercials, and commercials, you're parking behind your peg, you're picking your box up, and you're going plonk now on a nice little platform. Whereas if you're fishing natural venues, your kit is going to get a little bit more hammer. Certainly if you're getting out in the water all the time, it's just naturally. I mean, I've been to Southfield today, right? And from pegs, I don't know what the end peg was today, 28, 29 or whatever it is, right the way up to 80 peg, there's a platform on every peg. But I'll be honest with you, I bet within sight of where I've been, I bet there've been about 8 anglers that haven't even used that platform. They've got down in the rocks, in the edge. So, even those lads that are going to some venues that have got platforms, they still like to get in the water. And it took some of them a good 15, 20 minutes to get the box just right, on the rocks to make sure it was level and safe and stuff. And when you're doing that, your kit's getting some hammer. So if you're fishing those sorts of venues, you want a box or whatever kit it is that's going to last, Certainly if the conditions are bad as well. Who got you started fishing, Jamie? How old were you? I got into fishing through my dad. My dad, he's fished from from when he was younger, obviously. But I just got into fishing, just going fishing with him. And I played around at it when I was a junior. I used to, 6, 7, 8 years old, used to just play around with it a little bit, and inevitably getting in tangles and losing interest a little bit. But I just used to love to go fishing. And then I got into bird watching when I was younger, a bit of an early teenager. When my dad was fishing, we used to go up to some fantastic venues in North Yorkshire and that, really out in the wilderness. And I just used to go off for 2 or 3 hours bird watching. But then I got to middle teens, and my dad says to me, he says, if you want to get you're interested in fishing, I'll see if we can try and get you a trial for Sheffield Juniors. And that was at Nottingham, River Trent Embankment. And I went there, and I managed to get in the team. And that was it, really, then. I just kind of fished it as from then until I was 19. I got an England trial when I was 18, England youth trial when I was 18. Then when I was 19, that was it then. I was too old for the England youth side and the junior team, obviously. And then I did the college, university life kind of thing. And I didn't get back into proper match fishing, open match fishing, until 2010. So I got into it through my dad, which I think that's the way most people do, don't they? So... Jeffrey, hi Jeffrey, hope you're well, mate. Do you recommend the MXB2 for winter fishing feeder pal? Yes, I do. If you're only going to go buy one of these patterns, if you are going to try them out or buy a packet, then I'd go for the 2, because the 2 is great for maggots, it's great for pinkies, it's great for worms. Okay, it's a great all-round hook. All right, and if you think, if you do like the pattern and you want to use a bigger bait, then just step the hook size up a bit. So if you don't want to fish a big piece of worm, if you don't want to go out and buy the other pattern hook, the MXB3, then just step up the size of the MXB2 that you're using. If you're going to, if you're fishing 2 pieces of worm, a size 14 is fantastic. But if you're getting away with a couple of big chunks of worm, if you're catching fish, big fish or whatever, then just put a 12 on, if you're happy with the shape. But they're very strong as well, which is great. So I've been using them for a while now, and I haven't had any problems. Touch wood. Always got to say that in fishing, because anything can happen. Steve McCrory, love my Matchbox. Good, I'm glad, mate. I enjoyed using mine for a while. It was nice and compact, but I haven't seen them around for a while. Are they still making them? I don't know. Christopher Buckley, how you doing, Chris? Hope you are well, mate. Jamie, how long do you tie your bomb hook lengths? 12 inch. It depends what you're doing. I like to start on about 15 inch, but it depends on the depth. If I'm fishing somewhere that's deep, like, the main place where I've fished the bomb, I'll hold my hands up, has been Larford Lakes. That's really the only place I've really caught much on it. I've done it a few times at Fleets Dam where I've been going, but I haven't really caught on it, so I don't think that counts. I can't say what was right there because I didn't catch on it, but at Larford Lakes, I like to start on about 15 inch, because when I say Larford Lakes, I mean Spessy Lake, but because it's 12 foot deep and a 15 inch hook length, it's just got a nice drop in it, especially if, like you normally are, loose feeding pellets over the top. But having said that, I fished a match there last year or the year before, whenever it was, and I caught with a 4 inch hook length. I just tried it. You know, I just tried it because I wasn't catching on the other one, and it was amazing. You know, and the fish then just pulled the rod in. So yeah, I like 15-inch, but I don't think. I mean, you said 12-inch. I don't think there's much difference between it, Chris. But I'll be honest with you, I don't do it very often, mate. You know, bird watching binoculars in Ibiza. Yeah, I was a bit too young for all that. And when I was that age, Ibiza wasn't the place. The first place that ever got going is where we used to go was Magaluf. It was Magaluf first. That was before Ibiza, and then Zante had a little run. We went and had five summers in Zante in Greece, and then that's when Ibiza really took over. Then, you know, so yeah, no, I was too young for Ibiza for that sort of thing, and I would have been doing that anyway. I was way too young for that sort of thing. What else we got? So many questions. Thanks for all these, everyone. Hi, Jamie. Just saw you were on back to Istris this weekend. Let's go for a record. Oh, the feeds. Sorry, Neil. Neil joins. No, I'll not get to Istris this year. I don't know when I'll ever get to Istris, but I mean, the way things are at the moment, mate, who knows what's going to be happening about fishing abroad. So I hope you're all well, though, mate, in the south of France. I hope everything's all right. And I hope the fishing's good when you do actually get out there. I hope everyone's all right. What else we got here? Brent's Parry. Hi, Brent's. Best rod and reel size for distance feeder fishing at Barston. To be fair, at Barston, I mean, I see lads that, I mean, I haven't used a distance rod for quite a while at Barston because I haven't been fishing Barston as much anyway, but there are only certain pegs where you've really got to really cast, well, you haven't got to cast a long way. There are only certain pegs where you sometimes have to fish at range. So whilst you might have the kit, you don't always really use it. But I've seen lads there, and I've done it. I've fished the range as required with a 13-foot rod and a 5,000 reel. And that's it, really. I mean, the only time I really had to do that is I drew peg 16. I drew peg 16 about 4 years ago, and I won the match there. But I won the match with 100-odd pound in winter, but I didn't have to go past about 70 metres. The wind was hacking in. I started at about 50 metres, and I gradually worked my way out, and I got to 70. And the fish never really, there were obviously some fish in that area that day. But it depends on the rod that you're using as well. You know, I know some lads that certain brands with, well, not 11, I wouldn't say 11, but certainly 12-foot rods that will get out there. Because usually what you got to remember is at Barston, you're fishing with a method feeder, and you can cast a method feeder a lot further than you can a cage feeder because you haven't got the big long trailing up length as well. So, so yeah, 5,000 reel. You might want to get a 13-foot rod. You know, that's for, you know, when you're going to have to cast as far as you're possibly going to cast. But like I say, it depends on what you draw. You know, I haven't drawn down. I've only drawn down that riverbank. Probably, I haven't drawn down there I drew there about 2 months ago, and then prior to that, it was almost 4 years since I actually drew down that bank. And I know people that have bought long range rods for Barston, and they've carried them for 3 years and still never drawn the pegs where they need them. So it's quite a bit of an investment if you're never going to use them. Hi, Colin. Colin Morse. When carp fishing in summer, what flavour additive do you prefer, sweet or savoury? I've always had more success with sweet. Simple as that. Whatever it might be. There's loads of different concoctions out there. I know a lot of people make their own, but I love sweet. I've got a lot more confidence with sweet, and I think when you get that little bit of confidence, Colin, I'll be absolutely honest with you, that when you get a little bit of confidence, you tend to stick to what gives you the confidence. So you use it more. So you never, you know, you just kind of stick with what you think's the best. So that's why you tend to keep using that, if that makes sense. I don't know, but if that makes sense or not. But sweet, I love a sweeter place. Hi, Jamie, mate. Nice to hear from you, mate. When you at Larford or Barston again? Hi, Nigel. Hope you're all right, pal. Nigel Stringer. Nice to hear from you, mate. I think the next time I'm going to be at both venues is going to be it could be the Golden Rod Feeder qualifiers. But having said that, we are fishing the league at Barston. There's a Barston Winter Pairs competition this year, which is feeder only. That's being run by Michael Buckwalder and Dean Barlow. And I am actually fishing that this year with Richard Vaughan. So we are going to be at Barston. I'm not sure which comes first. I haven't looked at the dates yet. They're all in the diary. So, yeah, it's either going to be the league matches for Barston, and then I've got tickets for the goldenrod feeder qualifiers at both those venues. So I'd have to check the dates, mate. I'm not sure offhand. Eamon, do not, capital letters, do not keep maggots, pinkies in the family fridge. Great bit of advice there. I'm sure lots of people have been in trouble over that sort of thing. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that one, mate. Ken Hutchins, hi Ken. Met up with Matt Bretherton, who I met from your other channel, following the match you put on for us at Larford. Fished his local natural venue, Fowleridge in Lancashire. Met some great lads. Nice one, Ken. Yeah, Matt's a lovely lad, and he's really come on leaps and bounds. I had a coaching day. I don't know when that was, Matt. I don't know if Matt's logged on now. He's probably not. I've not seen his name, but I had a coaching day with Matt. That's when I first met him. And that's probably, I bet it might be three years ago, might be 4 years ago. And he's taken his fishing a lot more serious since then. He's really got into it, and he's been getting some great results. And he ended up winning our match at Larford a month ago, our patrons match. So well done, Matt, if you are watching. I don't know if you are, mate, but yeah, he's a great lad. I really like Matt, and he just quietly gets on with it. You know, on that match, he just quietly just ticked over, kept putting fish in the net, and that's all you need to do sometimes. Jeffrey Bacon, give my regards to Fuzz, please. I will do. He's not. I haven't seen him log on yet, but I'll pass on your regards. I hope to be seeing him really soon, so I will do, mate. Bandit Fishing. I'm gonna have to check that out. Is that a channel? You know, we'll have to have a look at that one, mate. What is the biggest fish you've caught out of Barston Lakes? I carp fish it, and my biggest is 14 pound. Only done 3 nights, but I'm going back soon. Also, what pegs are normally the best for big uns? The biggest fish I've had from Barston is probably about 18 or 19 pound, but I haven't had many even close to that. The average size I've caught at Barston, the average has really been about 6 to 8 pound. Okay, my biggest fish, well, that's not my biggest fish. My biggest fish came from Larford Lakes, but I mean, the biggest in there, I mean, it's 30 odd pound. I think there were 2 stocks. I think there were 32 pound and a 34 pounder. That's got to be 3 years ago now, and they have been caught since. Not a lot, as you'd expect, but there are 30 pounders in there. But I mean, you can generally tell where the favoured places are at Barston, and that's down the road, the left-hand road bank, and you can see the big pegs there. They're perfect for bivvies. You know, it's really popular. You've got to get there early to get those pegs. But anywhere from 124, 123, 122, 121, 120. That area is a really popular area for carp anglers. But I can't say which are the best areas for catching big fish, because I think it's completely random. You know, you can catch them at one end one day, and the other day they'll be at the completely other end. And again, sometimes the wind direction has an impact to it, and that determines where the fish are. Les Smith, hi Les, hi Jamie. When feeder fishing with 2 to 3 foot hook lengths, when I move it in a foot or so to try induce a bite, then when I reeled in sometimes tandled. What am I doing wrong? A lot of it depends how you're hitting your clip, Les. If you are fishing to a clip, some people don't fish to a clip. So, you know, one of the first things you need to do is just try and feather your rig. If you're not fishing to a clip, just before it hits the surface, try and just put your finger on the line. That'll stop the feeder, and that'll catapult your maggots and your hook length past the feeder, and just straighten it out before it hits the water. That could be the issue, mate. I don't know how you're doing it, and then just try that. You know, and it might be another issue. You might be using a really light hook length. If you're casting further out, sometimes you might want to use a slightly stiffer hook length, you know, a thicker hook length, because that'll just stay a little bit straighter, and that can stop tangles. But if that, you know, let me know if you're fishing to a clip or anything like that, please, Les. My local venue, can't understand why you're not over at Fowleridge. I love Fowleridge. I've been there once. I think it was a bit of a, I'm not sure, bit of a coaching filming type day, and that's about 4 years ago now. I just haven't had a chance. There are so many matches on there. I was so busy with everything that, you know, you just can't do everything. It's same with Rudyard Lake. I'd love to get over there. You know, I've got it set up on notifications on my Facebook page, you know, to let me know about when matches on there. But I just haven't had a chance to get there. There are so many matches on. But let me know what you guys have been up to. Anyway, let me know what, you know, have you all been out fishing? Have you? Mark Deacon's here. Hi, Mark. Hope you're all right, mate. With a cage feeder, your hook link can sometimes be 10 centimeters from your feeder, but sometimes also a meter, which also means that the fish also has a lot of space to go around. That's right, yeah. Move your feeder. You know, if you're concerned about, you know, when you feed a lambs like that, you've all seen the submerged videos, I'm sure. Feed a lambs like that, you've got a, I don't know, a 50 centimetre length or whatever, and it's going to land somewhere here, you know, coiling up. If you're concerned about that, just move your feeder, because by moving your feeder, you're just going to take all that slack out of there, you know. It's, you know, that's what I do anyway. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I don't think there is a right thing, but that's what I do to try and combat that. Bandit fishing. No, I'm not a channel, mate. All right, then. Okay. I was planning on making a channel, but it never came to anything. The biggest Boston is a 35-pound carp called George. All right, I didn't know that. It was caught last on the pellet waggler. Fantastic. God, I bet that was a beast. Not many people fishing a pellet waggler are expecting fish that size, are they? So thanks for that. And his name's George. I really hope to see him one day in my net. Well, you won't get many of them in your net, would you? Not in your keep net, anyway. Robert. Hi, Robert. Hi, Jamie. Nice to see you at Boston the other week. What did you finish up with? I'm not sure what day that was. Was that on the match? I think that was the match. Was it on one of Jason Goimer's matches? I think it might have been. I ended up with loads of these. There's millions of these in there at the minute. I should have taken my pole. I should have fished 6 meters and caught those all day. You know, the carp didn't feed. The bigger bream didn't feed. It was one-on dominated on the pole, which is great to see for the venue. But that's not why a lot of us were there. You know, we wanted to try and catch some bigger fish. But great for the lads that took the pole. Brilliant to accumulate those weights that they did. Hi, Gavin Ragg. Hi, Jamie. Hope you are doing well. Yes, I'm really well. Thank you, mate. Hope you're okay. Les, Steve McCrory, helicopter rig. The helicopter rig is a great rig. George Ross. Hey, Jamie. Much love from South Africa. I'm the big guy you met on the banks of Blomoff. Love the videos, man. Keep it up. Hi, George. Thanks for logging on, mate. I have no idea what time it is right now over there, mate, but thanks for logging on. It was great to see you. The downside to trips like that, whilst it's fantastic to be on a World Championships in any shape or form, whether you're fishing it, running the bank, part of the team, or whether you're just a spectator, it's great to be there. And certainly South Africa, because obviously that's something very different from what we've got here in the UK. But the downside with it, because it's that nature of that sort of a trip, you don't really get loads of time to chat to people and just socialise, you know, because it's not that kind of a trip. So, yes, I do remember seeing you. Thanks for watching all the videos, mate. Let me know what kind of videos you're into, because I know you haven't got skimmers and bream over there, have you? It's a completely different ball game over there. So please let me know, mate. But glad you're watching them. Thanks very much, mate. What's the last one there? Do you often fish pole? I don't fish it anywhere near as much as I'd like to, and nowhere near as much as I used to. I love fishing the pole. I really do. It's just a lot of the matches I'm fishing now are feeder matches. And to be quite fair, to be quite honest, I've been on the last 3 matches that I've been on, well, that I've won over the last month, have been any method matches, but you can't win anything on the pole. So I haven't put the pole up again. So it's just not been suited to the venues that I've been going to. You know, they've all been, you know, one of them was a bream venue. So that was all rod and line, cage feeder work. And the other 2 were pellet waggler and method feeder. You can't win, well, they're not catching any fish on the pole. So I love fishing it, and I will be fishing it more as soon as I get a chance. I do really enjoy pole fishing. Andy Saunders. Hello, Andrew, mate. Hope you're well. I don't know if are you sat alone or have you got company this evening? Best tips for bringing fish down in deep water, please. The thing with bringing fish down in deep water is that you've got to try a couple of different ways of doing it. You know, one way that you can do it is you can try and only introduce feed through a feeder that is going to empty on the bottom. Now, that is the ideal scenario. So if you can start a match or a session with either a plastic feeder or some sort of a closed feeder that's only going to empty when it's down on the deck, and the fish are going to see it and go down for it and feed on it, that's the perfect scenario. That's exactly how you want them. But unfortunately, you know, that doesn't always happen. And when it does happen, it might not work for long. You know, if fish are up in the water, it's generally, or usually, or if not always, because the fish want to be there. They wouldn't be at that depth that they're at if they didn't want to be there. So you've got to try and coax them down. You know, and one of the best ways of doing that is just quite simply put a feeder on that's going to release a little bit of bait, whatever feeder that might be. For me, I love to just clip on a cage feeder. Don't squeeze it in quite as tight, the bait, so that you're almost encouraging something to come off it, just to give the fish that are at that depth, wherever they are, a taster of what they're missing out on. yes, they might stay where they are and pick off a couple of bits. That's fine. And if that happens, then you've got to try something else. But quite often we find that, you know, if they do like what you're feeding, then inevitably they're going to have to go down if they want more, you know, and that's how we try to do it. And as you can imagine, that might not work for a whole session. It might work in spells. So you might, you know, put a couple of cages in where some feed falls. Some might go down, have a look at it. They might want to be down there a few minutes, and then it'll go dead again. So then you might have to change again. And fishing in deep water, you tend to find you're constantly making changes like that. So that's the best way of doing it. You know, obviously, if you can feed ground bait, a lot of people, like in Ireland, catapult bowls of ground bait over that line. You know, nice hard balls of ground bait that are only going to break up when they're down on the bottom. So that's a great way of doing it if that's allowed, and if you can do that accurately as well. So there's a couple of different ways there, Andy, mate. So I hope that answers that for you. Anna is here and sends her love. Think she has fell in love with your dad. I didn't think you'd be alone. Well, he is single. He is single. But he is obviously a much older man. I don't know if you're into that. You might be getting jealous there, Andy. You might just not be quite old enough, mate. But I'll pass that on to him. Yeah, he'll be wanting to come on the next day wherever you are. Chris Lynch, hi Jamie. Hope you're well, mate. Just picking up on the discussion about helicopter rigs. I've never used one, but what's your view on this rig, please? Helicopter rigs are great if the wind's bad, you know. I mean, I use them on two occasions. I use them on one occasion when the wind is bad. So if the wind's coming straight into you, tangles can be a problem, certainly with a free running rig. Again, it depends on the type of rig that you're using. But a helicopter rig can just stop tangles, simple as that. And the other time I like to use it is when it's really towing hard. So, you know, I've been at Southfield today and, you know, the tow really picked up quite a lot at one stage later on. And I've fished an helicopter rig on my long line. And you can just, because everything's tightened up with an helicopter rig, you can tighten your tip up to it. Obviously, depending on the strength of the tow and the strength of your tip, that depends, or that can determine how far around your tip's bent. You know, if you've got a really strong tip, it might not be bent. You know, whereas if you're using a really soft tip, there's that much tow on it. It's picking up your braid or your mono, depending on what you're using, so your tip's going to be bent round. And you can just kind of lock it up to your feeder. You know, and then when you get a fish, it's almost like a bolt rig because the fish is hooking itself against. I think it's a combination of against the feeder, but it's also against your tip as well, because your tip's tight or your braid or your line's tight. It's just it's more of a self-hooking rig, and you find that when it's like that, the bites that you get are just either jolts like that because the fish has hooked itself and it's nodding its head, or you'll get a drop back because it's picked the feeder up. Okay, so there's scenarios when I would use those. What else we got here? Matthew, hi Matthew. Is a Matrix 4000 Horizon reel a capable reel for the X Pro Slim 11? Yes, mate. I'll be absolutely honest with you though. I think the 3000 is balanced a lot more for an 11-foot rod. That's a personal thing. But having said that, we only released a 3000 reel a year ago, or just over a year, or whatever it was. Before that, I always used to use a 4000 reel, and I never had any problems with it. I just found that a 3000 is a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, and it's a little bit more suited for an 11-foot rod, just like it would be for a 10-foot rod. But yeah, 4000 will do the job great. You know, I use that for years. Steffo, sorry mate, you're chasing a question, aren't you, mate? Let me just see if I can find it. Was it something to do with balls of ground bait? I'm just going back up. Just bear with me, please, everybody. It's about something to do with ground bait and making balls of ground bait. Let's just see if we can find it. Where are you, Steffo? I've seen you there somewhere. I need an assistant to go through this, don't I? Are there any volunteers out there that want to monitor this live chat for me on the next one? Please let me know. Steffo, I can't find it. Oh, yeah, here we go. If I make ground bait balls the night before I go fishing and keep them in an airtight container, would they still be wet and compact to be catapulted the next day? Yeah, why not? You know, it depends on the ground bait mix that you're using, and obviously what's in there. You know, if you don't put live baits in there because they won't become complete the next day. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've got feed in there, but yeah, you could do that. I've never heard of anybody doing that before. But yeah, why not? Why not? You know, an airtight bag or a container. I don't know why you're doing that. Please let us know why you're doing that, Steffo. Is that because are you trying to save time on the bank when you get there? Is that the idea? Please let us know. But Yes, yeah, it would definitely, mate. But I've never heard of that before. What else we got here? Andy, are you selling your old XS Slims now, or have you some shiny new ones? The thing is, Andy, I have to keep a lot of my rods back, you know, even when I get new ones, and that's because when we go abroad, certainly if it's on any sort of an England duties type thing, whether it's a European feeder challenge or whatever, we have to have duplicates. You know, say for example, we're going off to a venue that might only need 11-foot rods. Well, we might be using 11-foot rods, but we might be using them on 2 different lines or 3 different lines. And if you've got, you know, you need duplicates set up. So in that particular scenario, I need 6 there straight away, 2 for each of the 3 lines. And then there might be other occasions where we have another one set up. So that's why I have to keep them, you know, for that reason, for when we go away. So I might not use them very often, but, you know, that's why we have to keep that sort of thing. So no, unfortunately not, mate. What else we got here? Matthew the Fisherman, Nigel Sales, Jamie Hughes, or Andy Bennett. Is that aimed at me? Just, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Let me know what you mean. Or are you thinking Fisher? If you're thinking Fisher, I haven't seen the draw yet. Probably an MPEG. I don't even know who's on an MPEG. I don't know. But you can't rule any of them lads out, can you? They're all that good on that sort of fishing. What else we got here? Thanks for all these questions. Just a bit of a catch up with everyone. The latest addition to the buyer's guide was uploaded yesterday. I know lots and lots of you haven't seen that yet. It's on a win-win range of ground bait. It's called Swim Biotic. So the latest one of those is on. I know a lot of you enjoy those. So that went on yesterday. I've got 2 more videos already uploaded on here, ready for YouTube, and they'll be rolled out over the next few days. The next buyer's guide edition will be with a mix, and that will be from the bank side. I'm going to try and do the future one now, the future mixes that I've got left to show you actually on the bank side, to see if we can catch some fish with them. Okay. So hopefully you'll be finding them a little bit more interesting, just to see them out on the bank and see if we can catch some fish with them and that sort of thing. So thanks for all the great messages on that series. I'm not quite sure how many are left in that, but yeah, there are 2 of those uploaded on this channel. So if you don't want to miss out on those, please hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that, because it lets me know that you want to see more videos like, well, this is like a Wednesday night chat, isn't it? So I can do these more often if that's what you want. So please let me know, give this a thumbs up if you want to see more of those. It just lets me know that I can, you know, my time's quite valuable, just like everybody's. And if I can just spend it doing things that you want to see, then obviously that lets me know that I'm producing stuff that you want to see and the things that I'm sharing with you. So it's Wednesday. What have you all got on the weekend? It's a bank holiday weekend coming up. I'm away for 3 days, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I'll obviously let you know all about that next week when I get back. Just let you know how it's gone and everything. It is a bank holiday weekend, so I know there's quite a few matches on. There's a few festivals and things like that. Jeffrey Bacon, seeing the Swim Biotic and going to try it with Super Crack. Wonderful. Let us know how you get on with that, mate. I haven't used Super Crack for a long, long time, but I know lots of people love it. Harley, is Dark Method Mix and Margin Carp a good ground bait for down the edge at Lindome? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't, you know, I don't go to Lindome very often, and when I have, it's not really been in a match. It's just been for a session video or something like that, or a feature. So unfortunately, I don't know. I would be guessing. Tony Chandler's joined us. Hi, Tony. Hope you're well. Didn't realise you were on again tonight. Aston tomorrow. No, I didn't announce it. I'll tell you what. Please let me know in the chat now, because I've been on 1 hour and 9 minutes. Please let me know in the chat if you'd like this to be a bit more of a regular thing on a Wednesday night. Just a bit of a catch up about, let you know what we've been up to, and you can let me know what you've been up to. Okay. So please let me know in the chat if that's something you want to do, because if so, then I can announce it and let you know that I'm going to be doing it, so you don't miss it in the future. But this video will remain here for people to watch after this. It will remain on the channel, so you can watch it kind of on playback, if you want to call it that. What have we got here? I don't even... What we got here? What we got here? Which would you recommend that I use, as I've returned to fishing and I'm looking at using pellets on a method feeder? Is an elasticated one better or inline? I'll be absolutely honest with you, Dave. I'm saying Dave because that is in your login name. I've always preferred using an elasticated feeder, just purely because the hookup is better. I think that's much better. You get a better hookup. The fish are self-hooking better. And when you're playing fish on the elastic up the inside of the feeder. All right, and I like that. I like to have that cushion and everything just feels a lot more solid. The downside with free running rigs is that, I am using them more often now because, more fisheries are stipulating it anyway. So I've started fishing with them more just to get used to them. But that's just something for my own development, if you want to call it that, just so I can get used to them. Because one of the things I don't like about inline feeders, and something that's taken me a long time to get used to, is the fact that when you're playing fish, because the feeder can go up and down the line, certainly when you get the fish under the rod tip and the fish is nodding around like it does, that feeder can actually be bouncing up and down against your quick change bead, and there is a real chance there that, you're going to be knocking fish off, and it's just not right, or it took a long time to get used to. So I'm using free running more now. But that's stipulated on most fisheries that I go to now. So I'd say free running now. Robert, Evesham Festival this weekend. Oh, good luck, mate. I've heard lots about that this year. I know there's been quite a few changes. I don't think they're going to have stands and stalls and things there this year. And I don't know what the attendance is like, mate. I don't know if it's down or not, but hopefully it goes well, mate. I know that's a really well-established festival on the calendar, isn't it? What else we got? Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. Okay, then. Great. All right. I'll try and do this more often on a Wednesday, but I'll give you notice next time. If you're LinkedIn, if you're subscribers, hit subscribe and notifications. You've got to hit the bell, notifications, and that means I can announce it on here on the community thread. When I do that, to let you know what time we're coming on, then you will get a message, or it'll just let you know that. Okay. I daren't say the same time every week. I'd love to do that. I'd love to say 8 o'clock every Wednesday. But obviously not every week I'm able to do that. So anyway, Carmill 2-dayer. Good luck, Martin, mate. I haven't been to Carmill for quite a long time. Hope it fishes well, mate. I know it can be tough at this time of year. It can be tough any time of year, can't it, Carmill? We know that. Let's have a look. Do you have any plans to host teaching sessions in the Netherlands? You know what, Bob? I've been asked about that, and please just either comment or send me an email. I have been asked because I know that probably 3 patrons to this channel are in Holland, and there are quite a lot of subscribers as well. And I'd love to get over for something like that. Obviously, with the way things are at the moment, it'd have to be planned well in advance, but I'd do that anyway. But yeah, I'd love to get over there and have a couple of days fishing with you guys. It really would be nice. And it'd be nice if I could bring someone else with me as well, another angler. But please get in touch if that's something you're interested in. But yeah, it's definitely something we'd love to do. So please get in touch, Bob. Thanks for that, mate. But yes, we'd definitely love to do some sort of a session like that in Europe somewhere. So please get in touch, mate. What else we got here? There's loads coming here now. Keith Morris, more info, Jamie. If you're going live, I didn't know about tonight. Just going through YouTube. Glad I found this great again. Keep them coming. Thanks, Keith. I know, mate. I know it's not ideal. And for those that you are interested, the maximum that we've had logged on tonight has been 175 people, which I think to say that's at any one time. There have been obviously lots that have come on and joined and gone away, but 175, and that's unannounced. So thanks for that. Please give this a thumbs up, because I'll use the thumbs up as a guide. Okay. And that's even if you're watching this video not live, even if you're watching it in a few days' time, just give this a thumbs up, and that'll give me a good idea of how many people would want me to do this every Wednesday, 8 o'clock, for whatever I can. Okay. Andy Saunders, can I come to Holland? Andy, you can, mate. Of course you can, mate. But I don't think you'll be coming on your own, will you? You might have to bring your carer with you, I'm sure. AD Holland, hi Jamie. Defo chat every week if you've got the time. Yeah, the thing is with this, I'll let you know why I've done this. I've done it for a couple of reasons. It's a bit of an update for you, so I can let you know what's coming onto this channel. There are loads of videos coming on this channel through September. I'm still furloughed at work, so I've had time off to do it. I am actually off on the bank as well, filming for you. So I've got videos coming onto this channel. I've got videos coming onto my coaching channel, or the Patron TV channel, that I've just uploaded 2 onto that. So they're the real in-depth videos, if you're into that sort of thing. So I've been filming for that as well, so I can let you know about that. Any of the new product stuff, people have been asking about products all the time, and there are other products they've been asking about, but I haven't been using any of the other new ones yet. So that's why I don't want to talk about them just yet, because I don't think it's fair until I've actually used them. because, you know, I want to give you an honest opinion on them and obviously show you tackle that I am actually using. Okay, so when I do get the other rods and all that sort of thing, I'll be doing a video for YouTube to let you know what they're like. And what I am going to do is, this is a video for YouTube, okay? So please, again, give this a thumbs up if you like the idea. What I am going to do is, a lot of the questions I've been asked about the kit that I've just changed over to, I've been getting asked not how much is it, what's it like, because everyone knows that. You know, you can read the spec on the website, you can see the price. What a lot of people are asking me is how it compares to the kit that I was using. So what I'm going to do is the XC class, because I know a lot of you have got those rods, the XS Slim. What I'm going to do is set those rods up side by side to the new ones, and I'm going to show you the bend in the rod with weights on the rod, and just show you the difference between them. I'm going to show you compare the difference between the thickness of the blanks, the rods, the runners, the reel fittings, all that sort of thing. All right, and I'm going to do that video for here on YouTube. So please let me know if you think that's a good idea, because I think that's going to be the best way of showing you. Jerome, how many subscribers do you have? I think before I logged on, it was 17,600. I think. But that should show on the screen anyway, Jerome. Hope you're well, mate. Thanks for logging on. Steve Norbury, definitely a good thing, mate. Either weekly or, which is probably better, fortnightly. Yeah, all right, Stephen. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Robert Marys, what do you prefer, Jamie? Pre-tied hooks or self-tied? For the last 4 years, I've probably used almost exclusively pre-tied hooks. And that's, no, less than that. That's not true. Probably 2 years. I had 2 years where I was using a combination. And then for 2 years, I used almost exclusively pre-tied. But when I say pre-tied, I'm only talking about the method, the shorter hook lengths, the method ones, not the longer, you know, 50 centimetre or metre hook lengths. Just because I've always preferred to tie my own. Simple as that. You know, but I know the quality of the pre-tied hooks now is absolutely fantastic. And I know some really big name anglers that are using them all the time. You know, they don't even bother tying hook lengths and stuff. They just get them out of the packet and they use them in matches and stuff. But for me, I'm still tying my own because, you know, I've got the time to do it. And it's just a confidence thing, you know. And I would hate to find a problem with any, and I'm not talking about obviously Matrix, but any of the, there are loads and loads out there that do them. I'd hate to have one break on me or fail on me or come undone, because then I'm not blaming myself. I'm blaming the manufacturer for it. And I would always be more confident with one that I've tied in my own way that's not let me down, if that makes sense. It's just trying to have a bit of control over the bits that I can control. And I'm confident I don't have hook lengths break on me. I don't have hooks come off. I just don't get that problem. So I take my time and tie my own. It's just a confidence thing, you know. And a lot of the matches I fish, you can't afford to lose a fish because it might be the only one you get. Andy Saunders, would be great to arrange a match between the UK patrons versus the Dutch lads. I like that idea. That's a good idea. Yeah, that's an old one. Let us know what you think to that. That could be interesting. But there are a couple, Andy. I think there's 2 or 3 in Belgium as well. There's 1 or 2 in Germany. There's at least 1 in South Africa, a couple in America. Yeah, it could be like a global get-together, couldn't it? Yeah, that'd be interesting. Stephen Norbury, patron away day. Yep, get your passports ready. Can you tie spade end hooks by hand? No, I never learned to do it. The funny thing was, my dad's always done that. Well, up until the last few years. He always did it, but I never learned how to do it. I just went down the old Matchman hook tire route, and that is all I've used and still use today. Obviously, I don't use that for hair rigs and stuff. I can tie them by hand, but I don't use any fancy gadgets or anything like that. Matchman hook tire, and then all my hairs and everything, I just tie by hand. Chris Knight, hi mate, just got an XS Slim 12 foot, which is the best casting weight. Cheers. I don't know, has that not got a casting weight on it? If it's the XS Slim, I mean, I've only used one version of the XS Slim, and you've done well to get hold of it. I don't know, is it a second-hand one? But usually I don't cast any. If it's, I use the 3.3 meter, or did use a 3.3 meter, and I never really cast anything more than about 35 gram with it. Okay, so lovely soft rod. It's great for brain. I mean, I used it for carp as well, but it's not designed for casting heavy weights. So don't try and do that, mate, because you might crack off and break your tips and that sort of thing. But about 35 gram maximum. I never pushed it more than that. Kyle Jackson, Jamie, what's the biggest bream you have ever caught? I haven't caught any massive bream. Well, I'm saying massive, not by some people's terms. The biggest bream I ever caught was just over £9. Now, I know on a lot of venues that's a massive fish, and that was at Ferry Meadows in a match. And Ferry Meadows is known for big bream, but I know that's not much compared to some people. There are certain venues where they're catching double-figure bream, but £9. I had two that day. I had a £9. It was about £9 too. We weighed it on its own, and another one was about £7. But that's what Ferry Meadows was all about, you know, all about them big bream. Right then. Yeah, it could get messy, Andy. Yep, I agree, mate. Well, that's great. Thanks for all these messages, everybody. There's loads of chat here. Within a few hours, this chat is readily available for everyone to watch, okay? So if you are watching this video straight after we've come off stream, then the chat will be there in a few hours, okay? So you might want to watch it the next day and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's been a long day. It's 9:40. I've been on an hour and 21 minutes. Thank you, everybody, for logging on. If you don't want to miss out on any of these uploads, please hit subscribe. But if you don't fancy hitting subscribe, please give it a thumbs up. And this will let me know that you do want to see this again, this kind of thing in future. Okay, I really appreciate you all logging on. Hope you've enjoyed having a bit of catch up. It's been great to see everybody on. Thanks for that. Hope you all have a great weekend. I'm away fishing this weekend. I'm coaching Friday, and then I've got I'm away 3 days fishing. So hopefully I'm going to be reporting some success and plenty of fish for you to show you. So, all right, please stay safe, everybody. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'm going to do my very, very best to see you all next Wednesday. So take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm going for a nice, hard-earned drink.